So I'm really happy to welcome Rupesh to speak to us today. I first met Rupesh, I reckon it was 2016. There was the Vision Plus conference in Birmingham, and he and some colleagues from the Institute for Design in New Delhi showed some amazing work they'd done for the census data there. And we were all knocked out by that. And since then, Rupesh has moved to Helsinki, where he's teaching at Aalto University. And he's going to speak to us today about work they've been doing there about public participation. He's already sharing the screen, so I'll hand over to you now, Rupesh, and you add to your biography if I got it wrong or didn't say enough. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Could I just say, sorry, please, if you've got questions, if you've got issues you want to raise, please put them in chat and we'll pick up on that when Rupesh finishes speaking. Sorry, Rupesh, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rob. It's been a pleasure to be in this community for quite long. I've been active with IIID from 2006, I think 2006 or 7. My first interaction with you happened in London in 2012, I think, if I'm correct. I came to share work of Census of India at that point. Yeah. And then again, I kind of met you in 2015. Yeah, so it has been a really great journey and learning situation with IIID all along. So I'm really thankful to Rob and the IIID community for contributing to the knowledge domain of information design. Yeah, I will kind of quickly talk about myself. What am I doing now and where am I? I'm with Aalto University in Finland. So Aalto University in bright summer looks like this, but presently it looks like this. It is winter. And I teach information design and data visualization as part of visual communication design program. And we have about a good group where we do research, design research project. So our master students becomes our team, and then we kind of do collaborative research project with public partners, partners from public organizations. We have all witnessed this kind of visualization, how they impact our perception and how they are influencing society at large, that how this kind of visualization helps community to understand the phenomena. And at the same time, we have been witnessing visualizations like this, where there are problematic situations when people are claiming what is shown through visualization. And it is interesting to see how this whole data visualization community and information designers are taking on this challenge and showcasing the truth behind it. So it's really interesting time we are living in. And I was just discussing just before our talk started with Rob about how fundamental of information design has still not changed. So we have certain simplification principles. We are still using it in our work, and how information design is influencing or augmenting our understanding. We need to find new ways of dealing with data and how patterns from data can tell us new insights, and how information design can answer questions. We can discover hidden stories from the data and pattern. We can expand our memory. So these are all fundamental aspects, actually, which is not changed. Of course, field of information design many times overlaps with data visualization. And I really wonder when data visualization experts, so-called experts, they don't even consider some basic fundamental aspects of information design or visualization principles. And this kind of things is quite interesting to see, that when people come from engineering side or data analytics side, they fall back to using tools which produces charts, but then questioning those charts and results is really important. And I think information design gives a lot of handles in those contexts as well. I will move on to next things. So information design, as we all know, that information design augments understanding. So role of information designer becomes really crucial in this context. So role as a creator of design also becomes curator, because we have to make a lot of decisions when we are developing our designs. And then at the same time, we become disseminator as well. So I'm going to share some of my projects, and especially focusing on collaborative and participatory context. So how I'm looking at problem solving using information design, exploratory and interactive visualization, and also experimenting with multi-sensorial aspects, like going beyond the visual aspects, and how do we kind of look at beyond visuals, and then get some help from auditory feedback and things like that. So I will be sharing few case examples from our projects. So first, I would like to share this project, which we did it in 2016 and 17 together with Helsinki Transport Organization, Public Transport Organization. And our goal was to find seamless information for bus passengers without using mobile phones. We know that mobile phones have, okay, so I think it is, we know that mobile phones is now present, and a lot of information is communicated through mobile phones, and a lot of digital interventions on the public transport itself. But important thing in the context of cold country like Finland, that not often people want to remove their gloves and interact with phones when they are in the situation on the bus stop or out in the outdoor situations. So how do we tackle those issues? So when we did this project, there was no major efforts to customize information on each and individual bus stops for that particular bus stop. Of course, there were digital devices, digital displays. They were giving information about what next bus is coming or other transport is coming, but then there was no overview of what is going on. If someone wants to make a decision to go to different location, then there was no feedback or no information available at the bus stop. And I will just quickly share about a process, which is kind of common process. Like first you start with learning, observing from the context, identifying breakpoints, information expectations of different users, passengers. And one of the important aspects we wanted to study here was also that the communication system, there was already digital communication system present. So, but not often it was all synced very well. So also identifying those breakpoints in the system. I will just quickly move on to what different things we did. So we did parallel study in different city, especially Oslo, because Helsinki is quite similar in terms of population and public transport situation with Oslo. So we decided to do our study in Oslo as a benchmark study, and group of students and team members, we all went to city and did a proper journey mapping. The second thing we did was collaborating with HSL, which is a large organization, and within this organization there were 7 different agencies working for passenger information. So we kind of brought all of this team together and did workshop together with our students to come up with specific solution which we were looking at that point. So how we started, fundamentals, as I said, we should not forget basic things, that how information could be organized. And then we went on doing that. And now we have this customized bus information posters on each bus stop. And we've been using it for last 5 years. Of course, there's a lot of ongoing testing and then feedback happening. And then, so there are no major changes, but then based on feedback, there are a few incremental changes adopted eventually. So at that point, we did not come up with inside the bus information system, because at that point, transport organization was not ready to do, not ready for the investment to have displays inside the buses. But then eventually, after 4 years, they adopted the designs which we created at that point, and now after 4 years, they have implemented this designs as well. So similarly, for other transport modalities like trams, because Helsinki is kind of multimodal transport system where we have metro, tram, and buses. And as I mentioned, that within one organization, there were quite many different agencies looking at different transport system, and often they were not talking to each other as well for when it comes to implementation of design. So it was a good point that we could bring all of these people together and shared from one department to other department the information, and also shared ideas to kind of implement, which could be useful for passenger. And when passenger is using all this information, they are not aware of which department is responsible for those kind of information dissemination. Passenger is bothered about their own journey. So it was really important point that we bring everybody together and then they work for the user and the passenger's point of view, not the implementation agency's point of view, or what are the boundaries of those implementation agencies. Of course, there were a lot of negotiations and discussions with different agencies to come together. In some cases, it took a little bit longer to implement some designs, but eventually it all happened. Okay, maybe I should make it a bit faster so that we can have a nice discussion towards end. I will share one more project with FinGen. FinGen is Finnish genetic data, Finnish genetic research project, which is initiated by Finnish Institute of Molecular Medicine. And we are together with their scientific discovery team, we are together working on visualization projects. So again, fundamental principles, what we used in making interactive visualization. Similar process, bringing scientists together. So in this case, the audience was not general public, but in this case, more of the scientific community. And of course, we also worked for general public. So when the scientific discoveries are made and then it is ready for public use, of course, those information dissemination is important to design those information dissemination. So this has been an ongoing project for last 2 years. We've been collaboratively working with them. Okay, so I think pretty much my time is over, but I will just share very quickly so that we can have discussion. So similar process like discussions, workshops with the scientists and finding common and also doing a lot of data sketches with them. This is one example I would like to share very quickly. That what kind of interactive visualization we can generate from the data and eventually make these scientific discoveries available to general public. Yeah, so in this case, there are distribution of genetic groups, and if you click on 2 genetic groups and then look at what is the gene construction of that population, and then you can interactively see the data behind it. Okay. So this is kind of, as I said, ongoing project. So we do quite many different iterations, collaboratively working with the scientists. So our journey is basically from this hairball to making so hairball kind of data, from that hairball data to making data more understandable. Of course, they have their own tools, and the scientists, they interact with data on daily basis, and they have their own tools, but often these tools are static tools. They throw out static charts, but when they get this kind of interactive tools, they can do much more with their analysis. Okay. Yeah, and tools such as JavaScript, D3, HTML, CSS, all the web technology has been used in this one. Okay, maybe I should stop here, and then because
how much else have you got, Rupesh? Why don't you carry on a bit longer?
Yeah. Okay, maybe then I will share
more material. Yeah.
Okay. So the next project is air quality data visualization, and this is where we kind of experimented with going beyond the visuals and looked at often air quality data. If you put it in a visual form, it is only charts, but we try to kind of extend the boundaries of going combining visuals and auditory systems. There's a lot of discussion about ongoing construction in the city, and people are worried about the air quality. And together with Helsinki University and City of Helsinki, they put together a project where they installed network of sensors in upcoming buildings and collected all the data. So it was really good to have clear data sets from this ongoing project. And we were invited to work together with them to see experimental ways of interacting with data and putting out in public. The results are shared in public so that people kind of interacted with this data. So we picked up this different data set from the sensors, which we already got it. So carbon dioxide, airborne particle, particulate matter, organic compounds in air. And then we also looked at the sound noise data from building. And then we started exploring what is there in the data. So started putting into simple data sketches, sketch tools, and then seeing the pattern in it. And then we came up with, so we wanted to put up this in a specific location where you have high frequency of people moving around so that they can interact. So it was a interesting negotiation with the building management to find out the appropriate location, because this is a commercial property. This is a shopping mall, and often all the spaces are pretty much has a cost factor. But it was interesting to have the building administration as a collaborator. So to find best location in the place and install this data sculpture. Okay, now I will kind of share a small demo of it.
Welcome to discover the pulse of Tripla.
So this is what we did before we started negotiating with the building administrator, because we wanted to, take everyone together for decision making, that why this kind of data sculpture is important and why we should be getting a prime space to showcase our project.
audio sculpture uses musical themes to tell how air quality and noise levels within Tripla vary in time. This sound represents the level of carbon dioxide. This is the amount of small inorganic particles in the air. What you now hear is the sound of organic compounds in the air. And this sound represents the noise of crowds. Finally, in front of you is a clock that tells you the time of day when the levels were measured. At the top, it's midnight, at the bottom, noon, and here, 6 in the evening. Now, move back and forth to control the flow of time, and you'll hear how the data changes from hour to hour and day to day.
I just wanted to share that this was the model created before we started building actual data sculpture in order to take everyone together for working together actually. So, and then we went on kind of again deep diving into the data and then seeing what is there in the data. Okay, so some more sketches. These are all sketches. So we wanted to check with the data, what's going on inside the data, how we can represent it, what would be more interesting for everyone to participate in the data discussion. Okay. Some more soundscapes.
Rupesh, can I just check if we're supposed to be hearing sound here?
Oh, you were not able to hear
It's
sound.
not coming through.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
You can hum it for us.
Same system. Can you hear now? Are you able to hear?
Yes. Sort of popping sounds.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, so basically to kind of map what data was telling us, and then we created soundscapes to communicate that and how it was kind of combined with data dimension and what kind of instrument we used and what kind of some techniques we used. And we wanted to have a circular visualization, and there was no circular display available. So our team together, they built the circular display, and this was all happening in the middle of pandemic. So it was a kind of difficult situation to source all the material and everything, but we successfully did it. Okay, now I'll just quickly show you the final version of it so that Okay, I'll not run through the full, but these are images of our installation in that shopping mall. And this is the immaturest video somebody sent us who were looking at this installation.
Welcome to the Pulse of Tripla.
Are you able to hear?
Jos haluat kuulla ohjeet suomeksi, pysy paikalla.
You can hear it now. Yeah.
You want to hear the instructions in English, move 1 meter forward. To skip the instructions, move close to the display. This data sculpture uses sound and visuals to show changes in air quality in the Mall of Tripla. In front of you is a clock face of 24 hours, which draws a graph of air quality values. You also hear them as music. This sound and visual represents carbon dioxide. This is TVOC. Particulate matter. Humidity. Noise. And this is how they sound together. The measurements run from June 21st to September 10th, 2020. You can increase the speed by moving closer. Can you feel the pulse?
Okay. Okay, that's it. I think I just wanted to quickly share about the conference we run in Aalto University. But I'm pretty much done with my presentation actually. So maybe during Q&A, I will share some more details of this conference.
That would be great. Thank you very much. Rupesh, would you stop sharing now, and perhaps people can turn their video on and we can see each other. And anyone's got any questions, please do put your hand up or use one of those icons. I'm not sure we got all the sound there, Rupesh.
Oh, okay.
We got quite a lot of it. And I was quite interested to know kind of what the hypothesis was. I mean, it's a lovely thing. I want to know in terms of communication, sort of what the hope was that you know, would it be a sort of have an emotional effect on you? You know, if all the air quality factors were bad, did you get a noise that was more disturbing, or did you get, you know, bird song when it was clear, or what was the thinking behind the use of sound?
Yeah, I think first of all, the important thing is that the whole community. So when I say community, it was also the building administration, because they are responsible for air quality. So we had a lot of interesting negotiation with them in the beginning. It was very clear from the beginning that if the air quality is really bad, it is problematic for the building administration. So our hypothesis, if I can answer your question about hypothesis, is that we wanted to involve everyone to participate in the discussion of air quality. And make the air quality data more visible and more closer to them or individuals actually, so that they can it doesn't feel distant that, oh, okay, air quality, you can have a look at it on the chart and then, okay, you can see, you know, the graph, and then so we wanted people to get more closer in terms of closer to get more feeling of what's happening in there in the air quality. But surprisingly, it was not like cherry picking data, but the air quality was pretty acceptable and pretty good. And in general, Helsinki and in Finland, air quality is quite good. And it kind of confirmed that while looking at this. But yeah, the people, but the thing is that we did this study pretty much after the construction, major construction activity was over. So yeah. Yeah.
Were you, it seemed to me you were encouraging play, so engagement with the data through play. It's a kind of a sculpture that could be fun to move backwards and forwards and see things happening. I wondered a little bit about comparative data. So Finland's, yes, good air quality. Could you perhaps interrogate the system and have it play you the comparative air quality of, I don't know, New Delhi or Beijing or London, whatever, just so you could say, oh, actually, this is, I can see the difference. I can see that how different Finland is, or even the countryside versus Helsinki center.
Yeah, absolutely. We were looking at some other examples. New York Times has done really interesting work in this. Actually, they have made an app, and then you can select present air quality, and they convert it into kind of particles, let's say. And then you can say that, how does it feel if you're in New Delhi? And then it gives you like kind of a cloud, dark cloud,
yeah,
and particles moving in the air. So that's more like augmented reality kind of approach. So we were looking at all those examples, and yeah, there can be extensions of this kind of projects where you kind of start comparing and then see and make more meaning. Yeah, in this case, comparison was pretty much missing. Actually, it was just like using the data.
Yeah. Veronica's got a question in chat. Do you want to unmute yourself, Veronica, and ask it yourself? About, yeah.
Discussion about communication itself, the way you communicate it. Yes.
That's so easy just now. I'm at a client's.
Okay, sorry.
But I really wanted to log in. I was interested whether it actually sparked off a discussion on the way you communicated the message, on how does it reach the public? Were there reaction to the type of communication?
Yeah, I think this is really important question. As part of the project, they have been producing a lot of visualization, and it's there on their website. So, but the public participation in looking at those data visualization on their website is very limited. Like only people, those who are dealing with air quality sensors or infrastructure management people, they were more like regularly checking, and of course authorities and everyone. But when we kind of put this kind of playable, interactable material in front of them, there were a lot of discussions. Of course, it is not perfect in terms of communication, like exactly people are able to understand what is the carbon dioxide or particulate matter in the air quality. But then people started looking at it, and interestingly, young people, like because they saw it first as a kind of game or something to play with, because it was just like interactive and all. But I can tell you one thing that we got another request after this installation to put it up in a different place. So now this sculpture is already live into a different place, and people are interacting. Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't done like data collection of how many people are using it, and of course we have sensors to know that how many times people are interacting, but exact communication, whether they really understand everything or not, of course, this is a big question, and I'm mindful of that. Yeah, I hope this answers your question, Veronica. But it is definitely important question. Yeah, to add to that, a lot of scientific community saw value in it. So for me, it was really nice to see that they could see like kind of a semi-art, semi-design piece, where people are interacting in.
That's interesting, because you showed the earlier work with the scientists, and I think possibly, I don't know whether there was sound there we weren't getting, but I couldn't quite understand what those blobs were doing, and kind of what the message was. And I suppose I'm not a scientist, but I was curious about whether you were able to move into that area and suggest ways of communicating their data for their own scientific purposes. How did you describe how you worked with them to sort of find out what they really saw in the data and what they wanted to see?
Yeah.
And whether the result was something which they could then use, or was it all wrapped up in complex coding? Was there a tool they could use?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. It is an ongoing project, as I said. Okay. So we've been working on it for last 2 years, and we are producing tools for them to see new insights from that data. So they are pretty much using. So we have like, but this whole work is not like a typical client and designer working together. It's pretty much like same team coming together, because we do not understand anything about genetic field or medical field, actually. So there are specialists, and they also have like data analytics background, actually. So they do really good data analysis of the genetic data. And what we come to help them is to see their own data, or their own analyzed data in much more communicable, much more understandable, where they can have better handles to their queries, actually. And interactive visualizations can really do a lot of new discoveries for them, actually, because what they have been using until now is like throwing charts from R and Python, and there are libraries they can just throw charts, but they are pretty much static. So here they are able to see new patterns, and then they are able to download data for their further work. So it is not like a final one good big piece of data visualization. It is pretty much like kind of combined with their routine work, where they make discoveries. So yeah, but we are also working with them to make all these results more understandable for general public, because at one side, they are donating their gene data, like general public is donating gene data. So they need to know what kind of research scientists are doing. And often this research is quite long process, like when they can say something that they discovered something, and then they kind of, it's pretty long phase, actually. But then in that journey, they want to communicate to donors, those who have donated their gene data. So what's going on, how the discoveries are being made, and what they have achieved. So we are working on those projects, actually. We have like long list of projects. But yeah, we don't have enough time to share everything.
I've got another question, but can I bring anyone else in? Does anybody else have something they'd like to ask Rupesh? Okay, I was interested to just a bit of background on this, how it fits into your teaching. So are students involved with this, and if so, at what level, or is this purely a research project with research staff running it?
No, this is pretty much our combined with teaching. So we have studio projects. We have like information design courses, like from introduction to technical, which is like JavaScript and D3 and all of this. So we have like introduction, then you learn tools, and then you apply all this learning into a studio course. So, and then those are like set of courses. So in each course, they learn something and then apply. So how we do it, that we have funds from this organization, research organization. So from these courses, we identify students, those who are more comfortable with the tool sets and those who are forthcoming. So then eventually we kind of get them to work with us. Yeah, so that is the way, kind of, it is win-win situation for all of us. And we have funding for doctoral student also. So I have interesting situation that I'm not supervising doctoral student myself, but I'm a project. So I'm supervising from the project side. So my area is defined as like design project, and then finding new ways of designing. But the research is supervised by other professor.
Okay, so we're kind of come to the end of our time, but just wondered whether there's somewhere online we can go and explore some of these things you've demonstrated. Perhaps where the sound wasn't great, we could, get direct access ourselves. If there is, perhaps you could let me have the link, and I could send it to everybody. And when we go online with the recording, we could put that up, alongside it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't realize that there is no sound coming out of that. But that was only for the last project.
Okay, yeah.
Previous one.
Yeah. But is there somewhere we can go online and, just play with, for example, the genetic data project, and explore how it's working?
Yeah, sure. I will share the list.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hey, Rupesh, thank you so much for sharing amazing work. And I guess I'm showing my age. I wouldn't know how to begin doing that. I don't know Java, D3, etc. So I don't have the tools, but I'm really intrigued by the use of sound and the use of these technologies, and I'd love to know more as you carry on with how users react, particularly in the public space, how people in the shopping mall actually, what they make of it. I'd like to stand there with a clipboard and record them talking about it and see what they got from it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. So I was going to say, everybody, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you, Rupesh. We'll be writing to you again about the next talk, which is Rodrigo Ramirez. He hasn't given us his title yet, and that will be beginning of January, the first Thursday in January, and then the first Thursday in February, we've got Maxwell Roberts talking about that icon of information design, the London Underground map, which its 90th anniversary is this coming January, and he's running a conference on it, so he's going to talk a little bit about that. And then we've got some other invitations out there for further on into the new year. So keep joining us first Thursday of the month for Triple ID Conversations.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Rupesh. Yeah, I was really glad to be able to join. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank
we'll say
you.
goodbye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.